Namaste, friends, disciples, and devotees. Today we continue with our series, Terminology in the Integral Yoga, the Avatar, Sri Aurobindo. The word avatar means a descent. It is a coming down of the divine below the line which divides the divine from the human world or status. Essays on the Gita. In the synthesis of yoga, he writes, man's nature calls for a human intermediary so that he may feel the divine in something entirely close to his own humanity and sensible in a human influence and example. This call is satisfied by the divine manifest in a human appearance, the incarnation, the avatar. And we have some quotes from letters on yoga. An avatar, roughly speaking, is one who is conscious of the presence and power of the divine born in him or descended into him, and governing from within his will and life and action. He feels identified inwardly with this divine power. Again, he writes, I have said that the avatar is one who comes to open the way for humanity to a higher consciousness. An avatar is not at all bound to be a spiritual prophet. He is never, in fact, merely a prophet. He is a realizer, an establisher, not of outward things only, though he does realize something in the outward also, but as I have said, of something essential and radical needed for the terrestrial evolution, which is the evolution of the embodied spirit through successive stages towards the divine. In the essays on the Gita, he says, the inner divinity is the eternal avatar in man. The human manifestation is its sign and development in the external world. And he continues with essays on the Gita. The avatar comes as the manifestation of the divine nature in the human nature, the apocalypse of its Christhood, Krishnahood, Buddhahood, in order that the human nature may, by molding its principle, thought, feeling, action, being on the lines of that Christhood, Krishnahood, Buddhahood, transfigure itself into the divine, the law, the dharma, which the avatar establishes, is given for that purpose entirely. The Christ, Krishna, Buddha stands in its center as the gate. He makes through himself the way men shall follow. In the avatar, there is the special manifestation, the divine birth from above, the eternal and universal Godhead descended into a form of individual humanity, and conscious not only behind the veil, but in the outward nature. We continue with essays on the Gita. The avatar does not come as a thaumaturgic magician, but as the divine leader of humanity and the exemplar of a divine humanity. Even human sorrow and physical suffering he must assume and use so as to show first how that suffering may be a means of redemption, as did Christ. Secondly, to show how, having been assumed by the divine soul in the human nature, it can also be overcome in the same nature, as did Buddha. The rationalist who would have cried to Christ, "If thou art the Son of God, come down from the cross," or points out sagely that the avatar was not divine because he died, and died too by disease, as a dog dieth, knows not what he is saying, for he has missed the root of the whole matter. Even the avatar of sorrow and suffering must come before there can be the avatar of divine joy. The human limitation must be assumed in order to show how it can be overcome, and the way and the extent of the overcoming, whether internal only or external also, depends upon the stage of the human advance. It must not be done by a non-human miracle. And two quotes from Mother. The avatar, the supreme divine, manifested in an earthly form, generally a human form, for a definite purpose. Words of the Mother, Volume 15, in Collected Works. Again, an avatar is an emanation of the Supreme Lord who assumes a human body on earth. Words of the Mother on Thoughts and Aphorisms, Volume 10. Namaste all.